All right, we will call this meeting of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee to order at, I can't read that from here, 5:04 p.m. And first we'll do roll call. Do you want to do it? Thank you.
Okay, committee member Beatty. Here. Committee member Smith.
Here.
Committee member Garrison. Not here. Committee member Calhoun.
Here.
Committee member Anderly.
Here.
Committee member Wallace. Not here. And committee member Roshto.
Here. All right. So first we need to talk about the minutes from the last meeting. Did everybody have an opportunity to look those over?
Yep.
And is there any discussion to be had?
I move we accept them.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to accept the meeting minutes as provided. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion passes. Okay. First order of business, let's see, committee business. The survey draft, which was also sent to us. Thank you. I don't know if you sent it or if Elena did. In her absence.
I like it.
So let's just open the floor for discussion on the survey. Does anybody need a reminder about the context or? And there's Travis. Oh, and it's a front and back also.
How are we going to get it out?
I think that's part of our discussion today. One thing I noticed when looking at these, that the descriptions are not written in parallel structure, which sometimes maybe that's too detailed. I don't know, but they don't, you know, it's like this committee, this commission, and then they are tasked. So annoyingly, I would want them all structured the same way.
What do you mean with the multiple choice question?
No, just how the descriptions of
Oh,
each of
I
them,
got you.
just so they're, you know, set up in exactly the same way.
Right.
Was there any information on here in reading it? If you were just the general public and reading this, would there be immediate questions about any of these things? Or they're all really self-explanatory?
I think we need to put at the very back how they can submit it.
Yeah, I think that'll be part of the delivery, and we'll need to figure out how to get it to people and how to get it back.
So I think part of it, we're going to be going out to churches and community center. And so how are they? I don't know.
Is part of the strategy to have a printed form that people can either fill out on site and then we can collect or can submit, or, I mean, I think if we're asking people to like scan them and email them, that might be a little bit more than most people are willing to do. But Taryn, do you have any insight onto like a digital version of this that is available through the city website or on Facebook page or something? Like how do we?
Yeah,
What does that
I
look
think
like?
any of those options are
Okay.
doable. We can post it on the website, and then also our Facebook. And then it's possible to go out in the water bill, but
That's what I was thinking. With
Yeah.
the city bill.
Yeah, this wasn't meant just to be used in our, when we go out and do our meet and greets with different groups, right? It was,
Why can't we just
In
send it to the
addition to.
97023 zip code, you know?
Is there any additional cost that we need to
There-
budget for?
yeah,
Okay.
I would say a 1-page flyer is around $200
Okay,
to go into a water bill around there.
I mean, I know that we have essentially $100 a month that we requested from, yeah, our budget request. So I mean, I don't know if that's like,
Mm.
we can spend 2 months worth on.
And is that like including self-addressed stamped envelopes?
Mhm.
That's what that cost is. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's in there with the water bill, so. So that's the total cost of printing for around 2,000.
Oh, because the water bill has a self-addressed
Yeah.
stamped envelope
Yeah.
already and they
Yeah.
could just put it inside
Correct.
that.
I was
Do-
gonna pull up Parks and Rec. They usually print quite a bit. I was gonna see what they last
And
paid.
do most people pay their water bill via envelope or are there online? It'd be interesting to see how many,
Bill per envelope.
right?
How they pay? They usually pay online, I would say. So people that do have e-bills, they do get an electronic flyer as well.
Okay.
So every water bill customer would get this flyer.
Okay, so not everybody gets a paper water bill because some elect to just get it electronically.
Yeah.
Do the majority of people who receive a paper water bill pay for it the old fashioned way?
Like in person?
Like, I mean, by sending in a check through the mail or,
Um, I would, I don't know. It really varies. I feel like a lot of people pay online with their paper bill. Like they get a paper bill, then they log in and pay. A lot of people do drop off checks still. But I would say probably the majority is through our website at this point.
Okay, I mean, are you asking, is it worth the effort and the cost to send out a hard copy and hope that they're mailed back in and rather than?
right? Because if they're not mailing in a water
Right.
bill
What's-
statement
what's
with
the
the
point?
survey, are they going to go the extra step to physically mail
I
in?
see what you're
Or
saying.
is it possible to tack on to the e-bill something like a survey? I don't know if that seems like,
Or a
So the-
slip that's like, gives like, it's just a little slip that goes in there that's like, hey, we want to know about your understanding of involved. Yeah, we need your input, like
click the link.
go to this site or a QR code that they could just
Mhm.
Give
click
us
with
your
their
opinion, they'll
camera.
click it.
Yes, yes. Tell us what's on your mind.
Yes.
Don't you think too that we should have maybe after the committee in parentheses must be in city limits?
I think we wanted to specifically know if people, we were asking if they're in city limits or in the zip code, but outside of city limits so that we can
That's what I was
understand.
supposed to ask. So you
the
can't have that zip code
understanding.
Be outside city, but still be outside.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Tammy, are you asking that we clarify which commission you could serve on? based
Yeah,
on where they
because
live?
I mean, they may have heard about it and think, oh, I'd love to be
Not
the
like
city
you could just have
council.
Parentheses like non-city resident, or you know what I mean?
Do we want that level of detail at this point, though? I really feel like this is a surface level.
Right.
What do you know? And then there can be a link to more information and specific qualifications for each committee.
So this
On
might turn up a lot
here.
of no for everything here, then we know really what we gotta do.
Mhm.
Right, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to link to
Um,
the city page with all the commissions and council information.
I have a question. I'm looking at these and they all say heard about it, have contributed to, applied to serve on. Would it be weird to have another option that says never heard of it?
As opposed to just having a bunch of blanks,
Yeah,
like giving them something to check.
well, yeah, because, yeah,
Mhm.
Well, and also, not to like be redundant, but isn't the whole point of like telling them and then now they know because they're reading it?
yeah, that was it for me for a couple of them, yes.
That's why I said what I said, because then they would know that it would be educating them
Yeah.
versus just
would be
having.
Killing two birds with one stone, kind of, you know?
By
So-
adding the
Well, and yeah, by just saying like, oh, if you're, well, and all of these committees are, you're available to serve on if you live out of town, but what are the ones that are the in town? Do we have that list? Do you have that information? Okay. But obviously we can figure that out with a little more.
Most have submissions of you can be from everywhere. I don't know which
Like
ones are
school-
specific.
school district.
Yeah,
School, the only one
City council.
maybe is
and
the,
mayor and-
oh, well, is the money one on here?
There's a lot of them that you have to be in the city. Cause I mean, when I was applying, there was this one and there was traffic and public safety, I think was the only.
I think library, you can be outside of city limits, Parks and Rec, you can be outside of city limits.
Heidi, you look like you're doing research.
I know that on the
It's-
website.
I think it's
I'm
just
trying
the
to get
budget
the
and city
internet
council
so
are the
slow.
only ones you have to be
Yeah.
inside city limits.
Yeah. I agree.
The other
Okay.
ones have a couple spots for
Yeah.
outside.
But I don't know if at this point, we're trying to gauge people's interest in serving on these committees. Like, I feel like that is a hop, skip and a jump down the road from what we are trying to do is just to determine baseline awareness.
That'll tell you where to go then.
Right. Right.
Well, and then also, you're hoping that people's interest sort of leads them to one of these potential
Yes.
positions.
Contributed to might need to be flushed out because people might think that's monetary.
Right. And are there ways of, obviously, each commission is fundraising.
I
in
mean,
its
is it
own
more
way.
like participated in?
Yeah, that's. a
Or-
good
An
one.
activity of?
Nope.
Um,
Participated with or applied to serve on.
Or just like put a little asterisk next to contributed and define what we mean.
Well, time is a
Talk into your
contribution.
microphone, please.
Oh, time is a contribution too. So I mean, yeah, we could mess with the wording a little bit before it goes out or it gets published.
I don't know, what do you all think about going back to Denise's question about adding a fourth option, which is like never heard of it, or this is the first I've
Or
heard of
something that
it.
Sounds better than what I said a little better, but yeah.
Maybe instead of saying have contributed to, that could just be served. Or served
Served with,
with,
But that would mean imply being on the committee
true, because you applied.
as opposed to just attending an event. Like, did you attend a library event that was put on by? Did you attend one of the fun runs put on by Parks and Recreation?
You'd say contributed involvement. I don't know, I don't know, it's hard to say because, yeah. I see both
contributed just,
sides.
Or have been
Means money.
involved with, or something like that.
Or I don't know, participated in
Mm.
an activity of, an
Attended-
event of,
Yeah, an attended event involving.
attended an event.
but why does that matter? I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, it's like the tree lighting, I think that there's a lot of things in town. This is what we've been dealing with the Arts Commission is that everybody wants summer celebration back, but they don't understand. And I didn't until I started serving and somebody explained it to me that there was this other temporary annual commission that was set up that had other commissioners from the Arts Commission on it, but it was a separate thing altogether. And so to sort of resurrect it is not just it's not going to happen the same way, like functionally. So, I think that that's part of the thing too, is like, oh, this is what the Downtown Estacada Commission does activity wise. And people are like, oh, I've been to that. But for the last 2 years, I didn't even know that Parks and Rec did this or that, you know what I mean? So I think that clarification is important. I think we are getting a little hung up on wording too.
I just don't want somebody to read that and think,
Right.
well, I know what it is, but I've never like given them anything.
Mhm.
Or maybe participated with, or
attended event.
Valerie, you took your mute off. Did you have something?
Yeah, I
to-
think the word contributed does not apply. It's out of context of what you're trying, your objective. So like your objective is to understand, you know, like. you're
Our
surveying
objective,
people.
Valerie, it's
Yeah.
our objective.
Our objective, our objective is not to know if they contributed, because contributed can be misinterpreted. So I would participate. You guys picked and attended events, I think are better wording, and adding that fourth one would be a really good idea too. You know, I've never heard of it before today. Because
Have
honestly, I hadn't
participated
heard about
slash
any of these
attended
until I got on this
event.
committee, and I've been here 8 years, so. So I think that there might be more people like me. Possibly.
I think so too, because I had heard of some of them, but not all of them. And I've been here since 2003.
So we should have a never heard of it box.
First time hearing of, like, sort of like now you can't say you've never heard of it.
Which is good, because this is gonna get the word out, so it's actually gonna fit multiple purposes.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think it's really good. Yeah, as soon as I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is good. This is.
Information.
And it's good that it's simple, like the simpleness of it is really good, because people don't like to read through a lot of information. Generally speaking, you know, I won't take the time, so that's good. It's very basic.
Yeah. And sort of the repetition of the questions makes it simplified as well. People sort of know what to expect. They don't have to get too involved, especially just preliminarily.
Yeah, whoever drafted it, it's very straightforward. It's very nice.
I know, we need this secretarial input
Feeling I
on.
did it. Yeah. So I think we should make sure we kind of look through each one of these from the lens of different city hot topics or things that have come up to make sure that, I mean, when I look at like the Estacada Area Arts Commission and I see the thing about public art purchases, people again always assume that the murals are part of the, so like, how can we like if there's an opportunity to clarify any of that through these also?
Mm.
I'm sure the Arts Commission would appreciate.
We're like the slacker commission kind of, you know, everybody expects us to not have our act together.
Do each of these have a website? In other words, if I have never heard of the Downtown Estacada Commission, can I Google that and it'll come up with some of their website and it'll say,
Yeah.
Well, there's a city page for each one of the committees and councils.
so if
Whether, but I don't know if each of them has things like examples of projects or annual things that they do that would help people connect. That might be a good,
Because if there was
thing
a
for people
link
to
like
do.
Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, and then right next to it, parentheses or whatever, a little. a link.
cityofestacada.org
Yeah,
backslash.
So like, what
yeah.
does they do? Click. What if we put that there? It wouldn't help on the written ones. But the ones that were doing it digitally,
Mhm.
suddenly there's an influx of complaints about cracks in the sidewalk and barking dogs and.
People are super upset about the road in front of the middle school, like more so than I would expect.
All
But
the
yeah,
like,
you're right. there's a
all
lot.
the new dips and stuff in it.
It's just probably one of the most traveled roads. in
I just drove on it and I was like, are we getting sinkholes? Is that what's happening?
That's what's happening. But is that part of, are they going that far up with improvements for Broadway? Yeah. Up by River or
The-
Clackamas
No,
River?
no.
To the
No.
ACE.
The Main Street improvement is not going up there, but there is plans to fix what's potholy right now
Gotcha.
in the meantime. But like just at the hill and down
Yeah,
is where it's
the-
gonna be.
In front of, oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I saw that they spray painted all the little.
yeah, I saw that.
sinkholes and stuff like that, So,
Yeah, so I think Dawn is planning on that.
thank you. Is it Parks and Rec that do, or who does the murals?
It's the Art Back,
Art
Yep.
Back.
which is a separate nonprofit group.
Oh, I thought it was the business. I thought it was the art, that store,
The Art
No.
Smith.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Nope,
Wow.
nope. There's a nonprofit group. I think they have a website and it's not necessarily connected with the city. I think there's some collaboration maybe when they're determining locations and shutting down the streets or whatever needs to happen
Like
for
any
it
other
to
entity, yeah.
happen. Should we talk about the paragraph that we're going to insert about the DEIC at the beginning?
I wonder what that was for.
Oh, see, these envelopes here are from the Art Back.
I saw
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Next to you.
I know, but this is my name.
Oh.
Why don't we
Oh,
just
poor Michael.
insert this right here?
The mission statement?
Why don't we just insert that in there? I mean, it explains everything.
We can, but I don't know, the mission statement doesn't feel directly related to this survey. And the survey is about increasing access. So it feels a little bit like too high of a level, like we need to come down one layer.
The longer something is, the less likely
Yeah.
somebody's gonna read it.
Yeah.
too.
So is it making something about making sure that all voices are heard in relationship to city participation, something blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I think we could even sort of paraphrase our intention by creating the survey, and it's just like we're trying to spread awareness in Estacada how to participate. This is
Yes.
part of our
We want everyone to have a
overall
voice.
mission, right? Who's wording that?
Could have the picture of Uncle Sam with the "We want you to participate in."
Your community.
Mhm. Does one of our goals directly relate to this, that possibly we could just pull one of our specific goals?
I think we have, our minds are hooked because I was thinking the exact same thing. Could we put a for instance under some of these? For instance, if you have a problem with this is who you would call. Like Estacada Arts Commission, if you have, you want to know about a new project that you think is going in, is it them or not? Or, for instance.
Or do we want people to think that we want to know if people think that the Art Back and the Arts Commission are the same thing?
Right, or like the infrastructure committee. This committee reviews and makes recommendations regarding infrastructure and system plans for the city. Does that mean if my pipes back up, that's who I contact? You know what I mean? Like, for instance, if you want to discuss this is who you cut,
I don't know. I don't know if that like gives it a different purpose.
You're right. Okay.
It's hard to stay focused on a very discrete task. I could not find our goals. I have a really hard time navigating I just made that up.
Oh.
I have a really hard time navigating the Google Drive where most of our documents are. So I am a Microsoft person, not a Google person. So does anybody have our goals that we worked on?
Nope.
Would it be in one of our packets?
Yes,
Okay, so here's,
definitely would be.
have
We have the look at participation accessibility within the city meetings and outreach activities.
is that in the April 3rd? packet?
Well, I don't know. It was from February 6th. It was in our minutes from uh, a different meeting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that then.
But that's what this is. We're trying to improve access to participation. Increase awareness
Everybody, yeah.
of opportunities to
Yeah.
participate.
Awareness of opportunities, that's a good.
Should we include something on the Estacada Area Arts Commission at the end? That's like a, in parentheses, not to be confused with the city murals sponsored by a separate entity, the Art Pack.
I think we can get there. I also jotted down that I would like to see that. Say they assist the city with public arts purchases and creating art events. Because that's one of the things that we're
Yes.
trying to do monthly. What if we just kicked off with like, the survey was, created to collect citizen insight. Into ways they can participate in local and city government. And then maybe a sentence about what our mission is, like what the role of the DEIC is, sort of a summary. I mean, it is also summarized within the survey and the question itself. So I don't think.
Oh, yeah, 'cause we have the committee is charged with.
To like explain ourselves twice.
I don't understand why we have to insert a paragraph. I
Maybe
think
we
it's
don't.
Fine.
It's like saying, hey, my name's Mike, how you doing?
Yeah.
You have to
It's just an
introduce yourself.
introduction.
I mean, yeah.
But we
I
would
think you're-
be, I mean, most of the, when we go out, right, we're gonna be saying that already. So I don't know. I mean, I think it does a really good job of just, it has the rundown of what the committee is. We're asking them about, have you heard about these committees and commissions?
What if we just inserted one short sentence in between the two sentences right before the have you heard about these committees and commissions? That's just about the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Committee wants to make sure you have a voice, or I mean, whatever, something about the
Right.
inclusion, one little sentence. We want to hear from you. And then have you heard about these committees / commissions? I think we could just add it right there.
Yeah, I'm sure people want to know what you are going to do with the information, so it might be good
Okay.
to say why in that respect.
We're trying to improve everyone's involvement with our community.
Committed to improving access
Instead of just talking about.
or increasing awareness. I liked the increasing awareness of opportunities to participate in the city or in Estacada.
Live.
And I don't know if we want to run this through anything like the Gunning Fog Index, which tells you grade levels of different words so that you can then replace complex words with simpler ones.
What was that called again?
It's the Gunning Fog Index. So just like the infrastructure and system plans, that feels real complicated.
Hmm.
We
Well, people-
probably need to have this in Spanish.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we have budget for. No, the city has budget for translation, which is something that we recommended.
They do or do
Right.
not?
Yes, they do.
Yay, okay, good.
So Taryn, what is the demographic of Estacada? Is it basically English and Spanish, or do we have a large population of Chinese speaking? I mean, language wise, do you know what the
I
demographics are?
don't know.
The school district's the best place to
Yeah.
pull that information from. It's varied. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Spanish is probably the second
Yeah, I would think so.
most
Definitely.
prevalent.
I
but it-
just don't know if we should be, I don't know if there's any other demographics
Yeah.
that are large enough that we would want to do another
Mhm.
language.
I mean, if this is on the website, we can steer people to that because they can do the Google Translate
Yep.
button on the website for lots of different languages. Cell phones have the translate capability now with lots of different languages just by snap,
Right.
taking a picture of it and it'll translate it for you.
Yeah. That would be a good place to have a bunch of Spanish ones.
I think the English and Spanish is, at least for now, a wide enough net to cast. I mean, and I would keep in mind that even if you're ESL, you still probably speak English to some extent. I
Or
mean,
have relatives with you that.
I know some Romanian families out here that are the beekeepers and they speak and understand English very well as well. So.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why it's important to make sure that the words that we're using are also
Right.
simplified
correct.
to make it more accessible also. Okay, so City of Estacada has many committees and commissions which residents and non-residents can serve on or contribute to. The Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Committee is committed to increasing awareness of opportunities or for opportunities to participate in the city. Have you heard about these committees and commissions? Your responses will be used to help us to target ways to increase, I don't know. Your responses will be used to
Tell us what to
something.
do, your responses will be used to direct us where we need to serve the community.
Yeah, we'll direct our future efforts. You're going to tell us what to do. They'll probably respond if they know they can just tell us what to do.
Mhm. It's nice to think that you can do something, that your response is gonna matter.
Yep.
How did you word that?
Don't ask me that question.
Well, yeah, you said DEIC is,
Committed to increasing awareness,
increasing awareness, informing.
informing,
Informing the public, increasing awareness on how to participate. Or of. Ways to participate.
Yeah.
Ways to.
ways to participate,
Ways to become involved. Or something.
ways to participate in your city.
Right.
I like that. Ways to participate. So like your responses will direct the DEIC on, or will. Your responses will inform our annual plan or,
Point us in the right direction.
yes, will help focus our efforts.
Mhm. Yeah, help direct our efforts.
In improving access.
Yeah, or increasing
Participation.
increasing everyone's access to participate, increasing access to participate.
Finding
Uh,
underserved, finding underserved portions of the population and bring them into the fold.
Is somebody on the city staff really good at like
Wording.
wordsmithing?
Chat GPT.
I don't
That's-
know. Possibly Sadie's really good.
Okay,
Um,
we might just need help getting this one across the finish line.
yeah, Elena's also really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once she sees the vibe we're going for,
Yeah.
then maybe she can just.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any specific? And popcorn style, go back to the beginning if you need to, if something pops in your head. So we've talked about the changing the options to include this is my first time hearing of this. And then also we could have, I don't know if it's too long, but have contributed to via participation / attendance. Is that too much?
Didn't we change it to had some involvement with?
Participated or attended.
Just leave it participated / attended.
I think that's
Okay.
adequate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we have 4 options. The first time hearing. Might need some of that wordsmithing. Okay, but as far as the descriptions of the different commissions and committees go, and do we know why it's commissions, committees, and boards?
No,
It'd be nice if those were all consistent also. Like, is there an actual difference in the function of each of those? The library board might have to be a library board.
well, are those appointed positions and other ones are applied for?
That's
Is
all
that
the same. I think you can apply for the library just in the same way you apply for these.
Did we decide to put a link next to each one to go to?
I think that's a good suggestion. We'll see if Elena thinks
Okay.
there's a reason why we wouldn't want to, but yeah, I think having a simplified URL would be good.
I mean, they explain it to me pretty well, and I don't usually swim in these waters, so if I can understand it, pretty much everyone else probably could.
About infrastructure and systems plans.
Infrastructure committee? I'm not sure what system plan means, but I would click the link. if
But
I
that's like
wanted to.
transportation.
So there are subtleties within the definitions of commission
Committees.
and committee. But it's mostly an appointment or being tasked with, like a commission is a group of people officially tasked with something and a committee is someone who's appointed to.
I don't think it makes a difference as
I don't
far
think it
as,
does either.
I know what you mean by laying out the document properly, because that's the way I was taught to, but I don't think most of these people
We're
for an
overthinking this
administrative
dramatically.
position, yeah, I don't think that they're gonna care if it's.
No, I don't need to, I wasn't saying to change it for this. It's just
Oh.
another, like, I think that
Is
that
it-
makes things more complicated.
Right.
Cause then you're like, oh, what is the difference between? And maybe there isn't a difference.
Could just be, yeah, generations of lingo,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like as they were developed or.
layers.
Right.
Okay, so do we think infrastructure and system, I mean, would we want to put in parentheses what the system plans are? Potentially?
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
that's
think
a-
here.
a little deeper layer of awareness. I mean, that's something that,
Or is it just name awareness? More than anything?
Yes.
Do they have name awareness of the different committees? Cause then we can
Right.
just leave it.
right.
I'm coming at it from
Just
new, fresh eyes too,
components.
and that's what I would be too. This was good for me. This is like, okay, so there's this and this is what they do. And if I want to know more, I can Google it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If I'm curious about it, or if I have an issue with something that I'm like, oh, that's who takes care of that. I can Google it. This is mostly just to let you know, this is the commission and this is what it does. And then if I were to go, what do you mean by that? Then that's
Okay.
a tangent. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, then there's the optional questions.
I think that's good.
Mhm.
I wonder, would it be useful and relevant to this if we put one more question under optional questions that said, do you have internet access?
Be interesting.
Isn't that one of the pieces of the pie, is that we're trying to reach people who have trouble accessing?
Well, do you think that will come out in the answer to how do they typically receive information about the happenings? And
Okay.
Valerie and Travis, can you hear everyone? I just want to make sure.
I can hear
you're-
you really, really well and everyone else is audible, but it's a little bit
Okay.
lower.
Just a reminder to talk into your microphones.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so what do you all think about the, how, you know? Do we think that question about how they receive their information will tell us?
Whether or not they're online.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
I think this is good. I think we need to talk about how we're gonna get it out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Travis and Valerie, any last comments on just the makeup of the survey itself?
Yeah, I like the idea of having that kind of paragraph in the beginning to give it more of a informational, because once you have at least you have your attention and you're serving multiple purposes by getting I guess the objective of DEIC is, so that's good. So overall, I like totally agree with the decisions you guys we're all talking about.
It
Yeah,
seems
I
like.
would agree with that. And also just gearing it towards I don't want this to sound mean or anything, but the lowest common denominator, really making sure that the language is speaking to everybody and at everybody's level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just called, instead of lowest common denominator, you can call that universal design, Travis, which is a term that's used a lot in education. So if you're able to reach the hardest to reach populations, like that benefits all students. So,
Universal
Perfect.
design.
yes.
One,
Yes.
one thing that I wasn't sure about, just because of it says in the first sentence, which residents and non-residents, does that mean non-residents of the city as opposed to just like,
Correct.
I mean, like that might be confusing, non-residents, I get what that means, but how does it apply? Is it mean you can be still in 97023? Can't be from Sandy, but you know what I mean? So is that clear to you guys what it means?
I live in that zip code in that situation and it's crystal clear to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand we're non-residents.
It just sounds weird.
I kind of think that the very top of the survey needs to have a bold, we want to hear from you. Just something, not just go straight into we're the DEIC committee, but like making it very clear that we want to hear what people know right off the bat. Otherwise, they might not read it.
Maybe someone could ask Elena to put some sort of art at the top, like you said. Just that's all it would be. We don't need anything like
Yeah.
any long
Do we
paragraph
have
or
a
anything.
logo?
We don't, I mean, the city does, but we don't have our own. Maybe the Arts Commission could.
Oh, we got a logo. Well, we could work on that too and just have something that's what do you call it? A water stamp or
Watermark.
a watermark,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, that you would like have on your email or whatever. We can spin that.
Okay, so distribution and outreach.
Do we have a timeline on when we're going to have this done? To distribute?
I don't remember if we discussed that in previous meetings or not. I think we did though, because I think there were some other dates of things that we wanted to work around.
Well, and what are help me, Taryn and Heidi, are the What's Up events quarterly? Because we could have a little information table or something, or I mean, I think that there probably will be some kind of information table at the event at the end of the month at Wade Creek, and then with all the parks events that they're doing music wise, we could just have the survey on site and then, you know, have somebody from the commission there to sort of interface with the public and ask for participation. And then do like the library is always a super solid place to drop off things for people that are trying to be more informed. The Grange halls are generally the kind of places that people understand they're, you know, using to have access to the community. So I think, you know, but what's a realistic time frame? A couple months at least, or also maybe coincide with going back to school. I mean, that's really not that far away. It's like 8 weeks away, something like that. Shaking her head, yes.
Okay, so the events would be good with, I think, a QR code. So people that have their smartphones with them could just pop it right open and go
Right.
right to the
That's a good
survey
idea.
and complete it. We would have it available online, so we could share it through the Facebook page, and, you know, we would all also share it personally, hopefully. The slip in the water bill. So this is the decision if we need to include the survey in the water bill. But we need to have some paper copies sent out. Is there any data-driven way to figure out who would be more likely to need a paper survey as opposed to getting a slip that's directing you to a website? Can we link it to who pays via online versus who pays?
Right.
Well, this would be a good way to find out how you're getting your responses. This is your initial,
Right.
so you may want to invest in it at first, at least.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
what, it was $200 you said, so you
That's a
guys
couple
can,
months budget.
yeah.
So they would they send it back in the water bill envelope, even if they were paying online? Is that
If
how
we
it,
specify
could, or
that, I
drop it-
might not know I could do that. I
right?
might not know I could do that.
Or you can
so-
include like where you would like things dropped off at, like you said, the library and whatnot.
Does that create any difficulties on the city staff's behalf of? Like, is somebody's obviously tasked with opening the water bills and collecting checks and making sure that it gets deposited and all that kind of stuff? That's not going to interfere with.
No,
Okay.
no,
can
we'll
just
just
give 'em a
collect
box
them
to
for
put 'em
you.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most direct way is if there's an envelope. Do they send out the water bills with an envelope?
There
to
is a
return?
blank envelope. It's not stamped.
Okay.
So I
But-
feel like most often people, I mean, we do get some in the mail, but oftentimes they drop them in our Dropbox out front. So that's an option. People can
Okay.
drop them off.
That's a good idea.
I think but we definitely should put a little blurb about that at the beginning.
Where you can,
You can mail this
Yeah.
back in the thing that comes
Yeah.
with your electric bill.
And then Heidi's right about investing in just finding out the methods that people are using to correspond with the city and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
That'll say a lot about their comfort in
Yes.
going online.
What about putting a QR code on here? Did we
Yep.
talk about that already?
Yeah, I think we should definitely do it, because if somebody wants to just snap it instead of even going to a computer and typing in a
Yeah.
URL, that they could just
Well,
snap it.
Yeah.
And then speaking for my immediate neighborhood, I have elderly neighbors that don't. They write checks, they
Yeah.
write letters, they don't, you know what I mean? They're gonna use a QR code. They're gonna definitely maybe even read about it in the newspaper. So we should have that available because those are the kind of people that are probably underrepresented participation wise.
Does anybody know about that little newspaper that runs through here?
The Estacada News.
Is that
oh
it?
yeah, would it be good to contact Teresa Carson and see if that could be included?
Is that our liaison? at-
Yeah, she usually writes for the Estacada News
Oh,
with
she
Pamplin.
does?
Yeah, she's our usual person.
Yeah,
Oh, I've always talked to Brittany Allen. and
Teresa
She always
Carson.
puts everything in both papers. I didn't even know we had somebody else. Interesting. If we did all of that and we had the QR code for those that are techie, I think you're gonna get a lot of responses, because we do that on our flyers for the dental clinic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just fast.
That's
Yes,
the- Also the like under 50 crowd.
yes.
Well, you know what I mean? That's how everything's.
Yeah, my
done.
kid
Uh,
is, yeah,
I'm learning. I'm learning about it.
I'm trying to do it, but I'm like, if it wants me to put in an email address.
Right, we're not collecting
No.
anything like that. This
Right.
is just.
Yeah.
Right.
A link you can follow.
Should there be any sort of a phone number on here for the elderly people who want to
Yeah.
call someone?
It'd be interesting to see, to provide it and see what option is, can they call you, Taryn?
Taryn's like, not at my
Mhm.
desk.
They can call me, that's fine.
Like, and they could complete the survey online, I mean, over the phone even.
I have done that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've worked for study companies that you call them up to do the study of who do you call for 911? Who do you call for?
Even if we had like, Michael was saying, or we were talking about the city, logo. Could we have the phone number under the city logo? And then somebody who's older would be like, I don't know what this is. I need to call someone. You know,
Like maybe even kind of like letterhead.
Yeah.
Like at the very top.
I just think with timing, it's just gonna depend on when you guys get all this together and approved, and then
Yep.
okay, water bill comes out here, here's the deadline.
When do the water
Oh.
bills come out? Is it monthly or is it quarterly?
It is monthly. I am the one that does those, so you'd send it to me. And I send them out the end of the month, so I would say the deadline is like the 20th to get a flyer in.
Okay.
And then they should receive them the first week of the month.
Does it cost more to have a full sheet versus a half sheet?
I believe, no, it'll be the same price, but yeah, maybe if it's double-sided though, that could.
So where are these gonna actually be printed out and the new changes add here? Okay.
They do all the printing.
Okay.
Front office.
Oh, and also, we should, increase the font size too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking as someone with visual impairments.
Yeah.
Since one of our things is getting to people who are the hard to reach, how many deaf and blind people do we have around in this?
Talking to your microphone, please.
How many deaf and blind people do we have in this population that we might want to include in this survey that can't do it this way? And how do we include them?
I mean, if they're deaf, they can probably still, you mean deaf and like both?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, I just included that because
Yeah.
that was what I clicked up in my head, but I guess, yeah, if you were deaf, it would be no problem. But yeah, if you were blind or like, couldn't, there's gonna be people who this won't
Right.
make any
With
sense.
the screen, typically there's a screen reader. I mean. People that have technology that are also vision impaired would likely have a screen reader. And I mean,
So that's just not a concern. I'm just bringing it up.
I
as
mean, it would
possible.
be, but yeah, I think we should, I don't know if we have
It's not an issue.
any way of knowing, you're not doing anything different for water bills. Those people who are impacted and not able to read a paper notice may have already elected to get electronic, which could then they can use the
Okay,
screen readers.
okay. I was just trying to think of who might be going through. the
Yeah.
cracks.
We have a lot of older people in Estacada, so I
Mhm.
think we really need to be going and probably meeting. Wouldn't be a bad idea for us to actually schedule some meetings at the community center. I don't,
Yeah,
and then also,
the Grange. Oddfellows?
Yes,
that's not what it's called.
not Whispering Pines.
Whispering Pine.
We'll get
I
it
know
right
what
one
you're
of these
thinking,
times.
Rachel. No, I always, that's always what I think, and I know it has another name, so, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind at all meeting. I don't work, so I would be happy to do that.
You're probably a better representative than
Make
some
sure
of
you're
us.
talking into your microphone, please.
I'm
Committee
making jo-
member
I'm making
Vanderlee.
jokes.
Okay, I know, but I'm sure Valerie and Travis want to hear the jokes also. So if this is going to be the 20th, we don't have another meeting till the beginning of August. So unless we are committing to being responsive via email to give, feedback and any edits, then we probably wouldn't be putting this in water bills until end of August for a September start.
I think that it's realistic to give ourselves that 4 or 5 weeks to get this hammered out the way we want it, and then set the budget and make sure that we're not sort of just stressing that. We're definitely scrambling. I don't have any extra time this month to put into that, but
Mhm.
August is wide open.
I think our next meeting, we should do more digging deeper in the distributing and outreach piece. Because
Yep.
until we actually have a end,
When is the
Product.
timeline? To actually have the final version, how is that gonna happen? Is one of us gonna go in there and do it? Who's gonna type it out? It's the actual nuts and bolts of getting this done. How's that?
I'm guessing Elena's
Yeah.
probably going to take our feedback since she
Mhm.
did the first version, and she'll probably make the edits that we recommend.
Okay.
And then maybe at the next meeting, August 7th,
We
I
can
believe,
approve it?
that we can review it.
Yeah.
And I think if we have just a plan, a distribution plan that started, we can start with the water bills, we can start with the QR code and having a larger sign to put up at any events we go to throughout the time that the survey is open that has the QR code on it. We can start with that and then continue to work on reaching out to the other populations who we might be missing. And it would be interesting to have it go out the first way and then hold some of those meetings and to check with people to say,
Mhm.
did you receive this? Did you respond
And what
to
was your
it?
impression?
Because that would tell us a lot about how far reaching or the survey was to begin with.
mhm. The outreach I do needs to happen in August, because September and October are going to be very busy months for me,
Mhm.
because we're gearing up for dental clinic, so I think we could be all doing it simultaneously.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're shooting for an August 7th, looking at the next iteration of this. And hopefully it can just be
We can
edited
approve
on
it and-
site and
yeah.
approved and
Yeah.
ready to go.
Get it out there.
Because does Elena act as the secretary essentially? I mean, did she?
She's our city liaison
Yeah.
officially.
mhm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so some of the stuff we can take on, which I'm sure she would love, but I'm guessing that's probably the surest way to make sure it gets done. Because this has taken me several months to provide.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Okay, so we're just after 6. I think council presentation, does anybody know what that item is?
Yes, so you guys have your council presentation coming up. It was just a reminder that you'll have a report.
Is it just a
To council.
quarterly or is this
It
our?
is the quarterly, yeah, and it is gonna be on, I got the date here somewhere. Sorry. Started. Lost it. It's August or July 24th.
Oh.
Didn't we just do one of those? I think we just did the annual
That's in 3
goals,
weeks.
right?
Yeah.
Is that what you and I just went and did the annual goals, right? It wasn't that long ago. No, it was not April. No way. Okay.
Wow.
And this is just the little snippet of what. we
Yeah,
went up
what
to
you're
and
working
we-
on
Okay,
and
cool.
yep.
So
mhm,
it's just a progress report.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Quarterly.
And essentially we'll just tell them about the survey, I'm assuming. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a whole lot else going on.
Okay.
Heidi says yes.
Okay, does anybody want to volunteer to do that?
Is Michael doing the art council one anyway?
Sure.
Are you doing the
I
art?
mean, I'll do it. I don't have any, I do like showing up for those every once in a
Okay.
while too.
So at least if we just have one person committed, then other people can come and go as they choose. So if you decide you can show, then you should join Mike.
You said the 24th of July,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's 3 weeks from today.
and then those are at 7.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then I'll just share, I don't know, we probably need to, did it get emailed out to Valerie and Travis, the one pager I was working on that is clearly more than one page. I used Canva and I don't know how to use it very well, but apparently it's
Well, that was my printing error.
okay, but it also might be too long. So please just take a look. I really just took a really quick took a quick stab. I don't like to say that. I just did a really quick document. It's supposed to be a one pager. Just sort of explaining who we are, what we do. So when we do go out and start doing the community events, we have something with us. And there were pictures in the scope and they didn't print.
Oh, is
mm,
that what that is? Okay.
Was there pictures? Maybe not.
Yeah, it looks like there was something
Looks like there
there.
was something there, speaking as a former secretary, when you don't want it to be copied, so you just put a white piece of paper across it. and
Yeah,
flip
that's
over
what it
to
looks like.
copy it
No,
that.
I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so I couldn't remember. Like I said, I couldn't find our goals. So that's why it's got gibberish in there right now from the template. Other than the broad outreach. That was all I could remember. So I would like your feedback, please, so I can refine and improve.
I'm not sure that I got it. I got, would it come from DEIC? From Elena, or would it come from you on Canva?
And I asked Taryn to print it out for today's meeting earlier today. So we probably just need to email it out as an attachment to everybody.
Yeah, I can work on that right now.
Okay, and then just give your constructive feedback. Okay, do we have any public comments? Is there anybody in attendance? No.
There is one person. But. One person is there, but. They don't have a raised hand or
Okay.
anything. so.
All right, any comments? Does anybody have any comments for the good of the order?
You guys are awesome.
I second that.
I love our city.
It's especially easy to love during the summer too, huh?
This is
Okay,
an Off
go ahead.
topic before you adjourn. Does anybody know what time the parade starts in the morning?
10, I think.
10 o'clock.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
10 a.m.
Yes. All right. So
was neat.
with that, this meeting will be adjourned at 6:07 PM. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.